Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director for Mobile County Public Schools. Studio today we have from Davidson High School, Coach Fred Riley, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach. And after this message, we'll be back with Coach Riley.
Diesel is a very big industry, and I went into it in a 2-year program at the Bryant Career Tech with Tony Tillman.
When Jacob graduated from the Bryant Career Center, he had earned his diesel credential.
The Career Technical Center taught me a lot, all the way from not knowing anything about a motor or engine to knowing pretty much every single moving part of them.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
The quality of education that I received from the Mobile County Public School System really prepared me for global success. Being an international opera singer, I get to travel all across the world. And one of the most important aspects about that is being able to communicate and work with people. And the Mobile County Public School System really equipped me to be greatly successful worldwide.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back to studio. Today we have Coach Riley from Davidson, one of our favorite guests. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Thanks for having us. It's my pleasure.
Yes, sir. Coach, you want to tell us a little bit about your season so far?
So far, good, the bad, and the ugly. We won the first game and played very well. We played the #1 team in the state the second week in Spanish Fort, probably #1 in every class. So there's a power thing that they have out there that has all classifications, and they're ranked #1 in that. We played really well with them for a half, and then they separated from us. And then last week, Eric Collier outcoached me, and Theodore beat us 14-7, and that was the ugly one.
Coach, there's a lot of talk about 7A and 6A. Basically, it's about the same. Have you seen any difference in moving up into this 7A?
You know, not really, other than having 8 region games.
Right.
And then the difficulty in terms of, all of us are looking for, a non-region game that might be, your homecoming opponent, at least a breather, maybe get some other guys to play. But there's nobody there. You end up us in Spanish Fort playing because that's who our open date was and that's where theirs was. I mean, our other non-region game is Charles Henderson of Troy. It was in the 4A state finals last year. It's hard to find those games anymore, so every week is a grind, and every week is tough. And I wouldn't be surprised still in 7A that if a team with 2 losses wins the region, that literally could happen, because with injuries and folks and all of us playing week after week after week, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Coach, of course, picking up, I guess, Fairhope and Foley. I mean, that's 2 opponents that are very tough. That
historically have been playoff opponents.
Right.
So we've played both of those guys in the playoffs, and really the first round of the playoffs, because of only 16 teams making the playoffs. First round of the playoffs is played really in region. I mean, it's really where it gets played now, right. and so the 4 that made it basically won a first round playoff game within the region to get to that place, and because now with Fairhope and Foley in there's a folks that historically would have played there anyhow. So it's tough, it is brutal, and the biggest thing I think all of us have to do is keep our kids focused, win or lose early in the season. It is a long, drawn out season, and everybody's going to have their ups and downs, everybody's going to have their injuries they have to deal with, and just play the next game as hard as you can.
Coach, do you anticipate us going to the last region date maybe before we decide?
I don't think there's anything. If anything is decided in terms of playoffs, I would be tremendously surprised if all 4 seeds are decided before week 10. I mean, there's just too many games that have to be played. Some people have tough front end schedules, some of us have tough back end schedules, some are heavy in the middle as far as who you play in a row. I think week 10 is going to be a lot of spots on the line.
Coach, do you like this, basically the extra week of the season where you can open up with the regular game or preseason?
I do. It didn't help us any because we ended up effectively doing what we've always done, played a preseason game in 10 straight. I would have loved to have had a real game that week 0 week and had an open date later in the year, but it did not play out for us that way. Some people were able to do that, but we didn't, so it did not affect us as far as how we've been built ever this year at all.
Coach, talk a little bit about some of your players this year. I know you've always got some good players, and
right.
Let's talk a little bit about
Uric Bethune is our tight end. Uric has been offered by every Sun Belt Conference school. Daddy George played at Alabama years ago. AB honor student, great kid, comes from a great family. He will play college football one day and be very successful in life is how he carries himself. Tyler Jackson is a 6'2" corner on the other side who is going to play college football also. He's our best cover guy. Again, excellent student, excellent leader, excellent young man. Across the board, this group is really different because this group of seniors, we have those guys. Then we have just really a lot of really good high school football players. And, in fact, 2 of our offensive linemen that are seniors were in the band as freshmen and sophomores.
Unusual.
They were band members and decided as juniors they wanted to come out for football.
They weren't tuba players.
And, well, I don't know. One of them was actually the drummer in the show band, and they're both tremendously skilled people as far as well-rounded, have a lot of things going on. But I don't think that anybody would have anticipated that. Our 2 tackles were band members the first 2 years, and it's been an interesting transition at Davidson as a different kind of kids we've gotten the last couple of years, last 3 or 4 years, really to see that evolve. And both great kids, smart, sharp. One of them was T.J. Mixon, Terrence Mixon's son. He was in the band first 2 years now. And but boy, he and my son, who's on the team, are basically best friends. Great kid, both of them. Kel Evans is the other one, the senior lineman. That really good youngins, and have really sort of the kind of kids that we have right now.
Coach, I know you don't want to mention it, but your son has really improved since last year. He's had a lot of drop passes this year, but he's had a great season throwing the ball this year.
He's done okay. I mean, the biggest thing I have to do with him is for him not to put so much pressure on himself to feel like he's got to win the game. And he's that kind of child. He's a lot like his daddy, he puts a lot on himself to try to win the game, and especially in the first half of games. Usually if you try to win the game too hard in the first half, you lose it.
Right.
You just got to keep pecking around and hunting and being smart and get the ball game to the second half and then do it there. And he's made a couple of decisions in the first half of games this year that have put our defense in bad positions, and it's not lack of any. It's really trying too hard,
right?
And having to help him work through that. Of course, he's just a junior and got a lot of football ahead of him, and in some places he's got to do better, and other places we got to play better around him.
Right. Also an excellent golfer too. Coach, talk a little bit about your leadership team. I think this first year you've
Leadership
had.
Council.
Right. I thought it was a great thing.
Yeah. We put together as coaching staff 12 guys that we felt like were the core leadership group of the team. 6 seniors, 6 juniors. Whether they started or not was irrelevant. 4 of them do not start, but they were always early, always the last ones to leave. you catch them helping with the laundry. They just brought things to the table that the team that was more important than themselves. They were servant leader type kids, and we really work hard to teach servant leadership within the program. And and it's about the other guys. It's about the other 94. And those guys were the epitome of those guys. And I meet with them every week. Sometimes 2 times a week. We talk about the morale issues. Is there anybody in the locker room I need to meet with? Do we have any problems back there? Do you need some help from me with anything? What do you think about this? I had a guy miss 2 practices. What do y'all think I should do with it? And I have them actively involved in that decision-making process. And it's very good for them. It's very good for me to hear from them. We close that door, they can say anything they want to, and they don't leave that room. And they've been very good in taking that responsibility very seriously.
Okay. Well, Coach, we're going to take a break. And
Very
we'll
good.
Be back. Right after this message, we'll be back with Coach Riley.
Nonviolence will start with me.
Nonviolence will start with me.
All across the Mobile County public school system, students are taking the pledge.
I pledge to accept the responsibility of my actions.
To solve problems peacefully.
Respect myself and others.
The 100 Days of Nonviolence Pledge. It's an initiative to help explore alternative means of stopping violence among school students. Will you take the challenge? Get involved. Take a stand. 100 Days, 100 Ways.
Smartboard, that's right.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to energy-saving bulbs. Saving energy saves you money. When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back. Got Coach Riley from Davidson here, and we're talking about his leadership council. And Coach, one other question I want to ask about you. Do you feel the kids have a buy-in with this, and does it make solving problems on the team easier for you? Because they're their own worst critics, aren't they?
Well, and they are, and the biggest thing is that if you're in that position, you have to be above board all the time, because you're the ones that now all the other players are looking at. How can you come and counsel me about keeping my locker clean when there's rats in yours? I mean, so they have to be above board, and I thought we picked the right guys that were above board that would do a good job there. We actually we had a change. We removed a guy in the summer over summer workout stuff, and had the next guy step in. I mean, it's a fluid council. You don't get, it's not like the Senate and Congress. You don't get lifetime, get to stay there forever. I mean, we'll vote you out if you don't do your job. And those guys have, as I said, accepted that extremely well.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about your offense. You changed this year. I'm used to seeing you in the pistol and everything, and you changed this year. What was the reason? I guess your personnel.
It personnel. It was knowledge of of the system. We had some staff changes that we had to adjust and adapt around a little bit. It gave me some freedom. I thought that I had gotten personally a little bit out of touch with the whole team, because I'd been so buried in the offense and some things, and had not done a great job last year at total program as a head coach, and some little things had gotten away from me, and so it was more about helping myself be a better head coach, and also knowing that I had a quality staff on both sides of the ball that could do the job and manage the games and do the things we needed to do, regardless if it was air raid or option or whatever it was running, but to allow me to do, I thought, a better job as a head coach.
Now, your defense, are you running basically the same defense that you've always run in the past year?
We are. I mean, we've been the same defensive front, defensive look for years, from Bart Sessions to Danny Smith to PJ. I mean, our system on that side, obviously it tweaks a little bit here and there from week to week, and as offenses evolve over the last 10 years. I mean, you can't just, nobody can just line up in one place and be still anymore. I mean, the offenses have gotten so sophisticated. Offensive football, a lot of folks don't realize this, but offensive football is a trickle-up business now. It used to be a trickle-down. NFL to college to high school. This goes the other way now. I mean, offensive football is the dynamic of it is high school to college. The college guys see stuff high school stuff's doing and say, that's pretty good right there. They run it, and all of a sudden now you see the NFL running the zone read and wildcat and all these things that you would have never imagined the NFL was doing. Jet sweep stuff, buck sweep stuff that Auburn's running, NFL teams are running now. It trickles the other direction, and high school coaches have always sort of been on the cutting edge of all that. As all that stuff has shown up in the NFL, they've struggled like crazy with it because so many of those guys never coached high school. They've never seen some of those things, and there's still some guys in college that never coached high school football where you play a different offense every week. Totally unlike the one the week before. And for so long, especially in the SEC, everybody ran the same thing. Alabama, they're all built to stop LSU, stop Alabama, stop Georgia. Then all of a sudden now, people are in empty spread all over the place, and oh my goodness, well, high school guys have been dealing with that for years. That every week's a different deal.
Do you think this trickle up is open up opportunities for high school coaches to go into college?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And
used to that was unheard of.
Obviously, you can, Malzahn, Chad Morris at Clemson, some of those guys, but it's also opening up some, where guys are coming in those off the field positions and then working their way on the field. Chip Lindsey, who used to be at Spain Park now, is at Southern Mississippi, and so you've got guys like that are working into those off the field positions. I mean, the head coach from Burns, South Carolina, who won all them state championships, he's in an off the field position at Auburn right now. Now, he ain't going to be there long.
No.
He's going to be on the field running somebody's offense next year. And so there's no question that has changed that dynamic.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about your staff. You always, I guess you probably got the most stable staff in town as far over the years.
Right,
so.
and combination of things, I appreciate you mentioning those guys. Combination, number one, we have great leadership in our school with Mr. Copeland. He's a great man to work for. Very few people come to Davidson and leave once they get to spend a year around him and recognize his leadership style. It's not micromanage. It's effective leadership. Give you your job, expect you to do your job. If it's not quite the way he wants it, bring you in and help you tweak it a little bit, but allow you to be professional. And our guys come in, and I modeled my leadership style really after his, how he's done things. And so our guys come in, they come in with great freedom. They're treated professionally as teachers and as coaches, and it's just hard to leave. And and defensively, P.J. Wright, Ken Daigle, A.W. Ferris, all these guys have been there a while. We brought back Jamal Lett this year, who was a player for us on the 05 championship team, math instructor. He's been up in Tennessee for a while, but it was time to get him back. He's back involved. Jay Pope, John Kubik, Chris Denny, guys that have been Davidson guys for a while. John's bounced back and forth between us and Mary G a little bit, and then added a young coach, Brad Goldman, to the wide receiver position, who was at Davidson as a freshman coach when we lost a coach in the offseason when Ray Nelson went to Viger. But we're family. Sean Smith's been coaching the freshman team for years. Delvin Powell in basketball for years. I mean, we Coach DeLonga with the soccer program. Charlie Shipp. Charlie Shipp's the only one who's been there longer than me, and coaching basketball and softball. Volleyball has been a transitional program for a while, but Jennifer Harris has stepped in there and is really doing a good job, and I think wants to stay there for a while and do the job there. Our swim team has gotten better and better. Chris Agee, who doesn't coach football anymore, but he coaches that tennis team. He drives one of them football buses. Our guys go out and get CDLs and drive buses. I mean, we're family. I mean, most of us been together 11 years. You know, it was something me and Smitty been there 13 years. You know, I mean, we wear each other out like family too now. I mean, it ain't all lovey-dovey. I mean, we get after each other like brothers, and but when we leave there, we're in it together. It's fun to go to work.
Well, great. We're going to take another break. After this break, we'll be back for our last session.
I saw Mr. Tillman's class. Just that quick little 5 minutes I had with him made me think that I really wanted to do small engines. I just love tinkering with them, just a gearhead. Graduating from the Career Tech Center has allowed me to better myself, make more money, be more informed about the trade that I'm going to be in. I just felt like doing a trade is just better than working in an office or something. I have to be outside working with my hand or something.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
For me, it started back in 1942 when my family moved to Mobile, and I began my high school career at Murphy High School. Today, it's so important to be able to ingrain in yourself what are you going to do in future life, and you need to be prepared. And so subsequently, everything at Murphy was very important in my life, and so it was instrumental in preparing me for future life and future profession that I wanted to be in.
Welcome back. Our last session, we got Coach Riley here. We want to talk a little bit about your Hall of Fame game this week, Coach.
Foley's Hall of Fame game. Kevin Day, who is the president of our Touchdown Club, is also president of our Alumni Association. He heads up the Hall of Fame committee. You know, we started the Hall of Fame about 5 years ago, and we started, we're going very slowly. We didn't want to go so fast that we skipped somebody. So we've basically taken 2 years at a time, 62, 63, 64, 65. We're just now getting into the 70s. You know, we're just about to hit integration. Just about to hit some of those guys that rolled in and were the transitional guys and the minority guys that came into there and start getting those track guys that won all them state championships. We're about to hit Richard Todd. I mean, we're about to hit some of those, but we're not quite there yet. We're almost there. I think next year and the next year we'll really start hitting that group of people. We put, 4 to 6 people in each year, and we also put folks in it that meant a lot to the school. So we have an athletic Hall of Fame, and then we have another group that goes in that were great contributors to Davidson, like Miss Klotfelter, who has a room named after her there, and folks like that. So we're looking forward to that. That'll happen at halftime Friday night. Our band actually will be playing pregame to allow room for halftime for the Hall of Fame, and again, along with Foley's band, who's about a 300-member band, which is they put on a pretty good show. So halftime certainly ought to be exciting.
And also, Coach, the Cancer Awareness Month, October, is big for you. It's a personal thing for you. So you talk a little bit about that.
Right. Our Pink Out game, we've tried to traditionally do that with Murphy, and us and them get together and do it together, no matter who the home and away is. Murphy's the home team this year for that game. We're the away, but we get together with them, and everybody wear the pink wristbands and the pink towels and the pink undershirts, and for breast cancer awareness. That's coming up in October. Of course, Susan, as you were referencing, my wife, 5 years ago, last week, was diagnosed with breast cancer. 5 years ago this week, had major reconstructive surgery, went through all that stuff that so many people go through, that we've lived through the last 5 years. She was, though, 10 days ago declared cancer-free and taken off all of her medication, and told to, now she does yearly visits the rest of her life, and that was a big week for us, as a family. You realize, we're old enough to realize that everybody has something. Sure. We all hide it, we all stiff upper lip, we all do our jobs, we all go do the things we go to, but all of us go home to something, whether it's that or a child or an elderly parent. We all have something that we have to deal with, and we leave work that's still there when we get there. And that's been our for the last 5 years, and we're very, very, very thankful that she is healthy and vibrant and
that's great.
And on our sidelines every Friday.
Every Friday night she's on the sidelines. I'm telling you, you need to give her some headphones, Coach.
No, I don't either.
Coach, we talk about off season. Of course, everybody knows everybody works hard in off season. Talk a little bit about sending your coaches off this summer.
You know, our defensive coaching staff, we were fortunate enough that Greg McMahon and I coached together years ago at Southern Illinois University. He is the special teams coordinator with the New Orleans Saints. He and Sean Payton both went to Eastern Illinois together. So we actually ran into him at the Senior Bowl. And I mentioned, do you ever have high school teams come in and visit? Sure, when you want to come. You know, he still calls me Freddie. When you want to come, Freddie? You know, I said, well, okay. And I said, whenever it's good for you. And he sends me a text like in May, says, here's the weeks we need you to come down, you'll have full reign of everything. Our guys sat in on all the meetings, all the players' meetings, all the coaching staff meetings, went to practices. It was a great couple of days for them. You know, got to pick their brain, but I also picked up a couple of turnover drills and stuff like that. But you know, it's great when you can do something like that close that don't cost you a lot of money. I mean, I know McGill's flown to Oregon. Well, we ain't flying to Oregon. Our arms will get tired, because we ain't getting no plane. You know, so it was great for somebody to be that close. That's going to be a resource for us. They said we could come back every year now, and we're really excited about being able to do that.
That's great, and it gives them something to look forward to, because the
no
summers get long sometimes with what y'all go to.
No doubt. I mean, you're talking 4 days a week all summer long, and then sometimes 5 and 6 with 7-on-7 tournaments. I mean, you know, it's not like the old days where the head football coach shows up, jumps on the lawnmower, and cuts the grass, and everybody else goes home all summer, and we'll see you back, you know, at the end of July. We all work, all of us, all summer long. You know, my position, 8 to 10 hours a day, depending upon how the schedule is built. An assistant coach is at least 5 to 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, and then again longer with 7-on-7 stuff. I mean, it's a full-time job. But again, those guys love it. You know, I mean, they love it. They want to be there. This is their heart, is coaching football, and again, coaching all sports. All sports do it that way.
Right, you're right.
They're all. I mean, we talk about football, but I mean, baseball's competing, volleyball's competing, basketball's competing. I mean, they're all. You know, soccer coaches are getting involved in their club things and doing the stuff they do in the summer. So it's never ending. I mean, that's what we do.
You know, Coach Davison, I mean, is competing in everything. I mean, your baseball team has really gotten good, and you know, we've seen a big increase in all the sports over there.
It's you know, we're sort of a tweener school right now. I mean, you know, we're not, truthfully, we're not great at anything, but we're sort of good at everything right now. All of our sports have come on. Our student population shift has changed a little bit, that have helped those. You know, we're not embarrassed in any game. I mean, we can go out and hold our own.
Coach, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you. Kind of lucky to have you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.